Hey there, fellow Plexers. Now I've got the Roku Ultra fired up, and I looked up the model number. It was released in September of 2018. So a quick Google search told me that the first gen was 2016 in September, and the second gen was 2020. So I don't know if this is really a first gen or a first gen refreshed, but it doesn't really matter. Let's start the little 4K HEVC high bit rated test. So the Magnificent 7 was just started. It's spinning, and I'm just not a fan of Roku devices. Now I've got a percentage, 13% on the screen, 33%, 38%, 99%, and the video starts up. So this 10 gigabytes per second is a misrepresentation. Let me check to make sure I didn't leave this in a forced transcode the last time I tested it on this device. I may have. No, it's checked for original quality, and it starts up transcoded. Let me force it into a transcode, and then back to direct stream and see what happens. I'll put it into a 4 megabit per second 720p transcode. Again, the percentages are on the screen, 13%, 33%. There it is, it started up. So I have to say this transcode does not look as good as it does on the NVIDIA Shield when it's set for this level. Let's put it back to original quality. It's got the delayed start again, unlike the NVIDIA Shield Pro. All right, so this 4K Dolby Vision HDR10 won't work on this 2018 era Roku Ultra. It transcodes it to 1080p. Now again, this server does not have hardware acceleration on it, so this is off the CPU of the 14th gen i5 that's in my little Asus NUC, and that's why it's transcoding to H.264 and not using the new feature of HEVC transcoding. So it's still powerful enough to easily transcode it. So actually, this is not a good representation of how long it takes the video to start up until we find one of these 4K movies that will direct play. All right, let me start the next movie. Okay, and this one is a direct stream, and you'll notice that it's got 116 megabits per second represented. It just buffered on my screen, buffered again. We can see where it says buffering here in the dashboard screenshot. Let's let it play and see if it buffers a little bit more once it gets rolling. So far so good, so that may have just been a little bit of initial buffering. All right, I'm going to call that a pass. Picture looked nice. All right, now A Christmas Story. Okay, so now it's playing on my screen, and that's direct play too. Let's give it a second to see if it buffers at all. 110 megabits per second. Just had a little bit of buffering. You can see it now on the dashboard. Of course, it's on the dashboard screen longer than it actually buffered for. It was very brief on my TV. Let's give it a little bit and see if it buffers again. All right, I think it's safe. A little initial buffering like the previous movie. Now John Wick 4 is up next. Taking a while to start up. Now I see the 13%, 33%, now a black screen, now 48, 56, 99%, and it started. And it started as a direct play. I'm watching the screen to see if there's any buffering, 78 megabits per second. All right, so this is a pass. It started up, didn't have any initial buffering. I'm sure it'll play fine the rest of the way through. Casino Royale, the 4K HEVC version. Resuming right now. It's just a spinning. 13% it says, 33, and it starts. 93 megabits per second. Let's see if we find any buffering at the beginning of this. So far, so good. I'm going to call this a pass 2. Now, the Mission Impossible. I've started it. %13 on the screen, 33, and it starts. Well, it's not on the screen yet. Okay, it was marked buffering there. Now it's started, it's playing. Only the audio is transcoding. And remember, the audio is always a transcode off the CPU, never the iGPU or the CPU. Well, yeah, off the CPU. Mr. Cruz looks very young in this movie. And I think this is just going to play without issue also. All right, the 2009 Star Trek movie is next, and I'm hitting resume right now. So this has been my experience with the Roku Ultra. It takes so much longer to start up. So nothing on my screen yet. 33% is where it's at. Now it's started. And this is something that I always see with a Roku device, or at least my Roku device. The 10 gigabit per second is a misreporting when it goes into transcode. So you see that this Roku Ultra can't play this original video, and we're doing a software transcode right now to the H.264 container at 1080p. Let me turn off the subtitles and stop and restart this video just in case. All right, so it's trying to start back up without the subtitles. All right, so without the subtitles, it's a direct play, where it didn't matter on the NVIDIA Shield or my 2022 model Sony OLED TV. So I don't think there's going to be any buffering to this, 63 megabits per second. Let's go on to the next. Oppenheimer. Hitting play now. 13%, 33%, 54%, 99%, and it starts. And it starts with a transcode, so let's back right out of it. I should have turned the subtitles off while it was playing. I'm doing it now in the playback settings. Of course, I'm not sure how to do it. There it is. The Roku's a different interface. Okay, so the subs are off. Let's start it again, see if it's a direct play. So the PGS subtitles no longer cause a transcode under Android TV. And that might be true with Apple TV also. All right, even with the subtitles off, it's in a software transcode. So let me shuttle this ahead. It's slower under Roku. I would be halfway across the movie now, and I'm at 10 minutes. All right, let me let go of it. Well, I have to drop down and hit play. Yeah, just not the same experience as a Android TV / Google TV device. And also, the colors are off in this. Heavy red shade, and I don't know what color the shirt's supposed to be, but it's looking a little green. I see greens and reds. So this is a failure, even with a transcode. All right, the excuse me, the other version of Casino Royale, which is H.265 instead of HEVC at a lower bit rate. Starting now. All right, well, nothing on the screen yet. There it is. So we got a direct stream on the video portion of the container file and a transcode on the audio. So that's fine, as long as it plays and as long as it doesn't buffer. All right, so I'm sure that's not going to buffer. 3 left. Ghost in the Shell next. Hitting resume now. For this device, that started up fairly quickly. Direct play for the audio. Direct play for the video portion. Transcode on the audio. Now, generally, the bit rates are being reported as higher on the Roku than they were under a Google TV device. I think they were all a match under all 3 Google TV devices. All right, I'm confident this isn't going to buffer. Mad Max Fury Road, starting now. %13 on the screen. There it is. It jumped to 90. The audio's transcoding. The video's direct streaming. At 37 megabits per second, I'm pretty confident this won't buffer. So let's go to our last one. Twisters. %13. 51%. I think it's starting. 28 megabits per second, and everything's a direct play. So, this is the reason I'm not a fan of this Roku Ultra, or usually Rokus in general. I'm trying to eliminate Rokus from my friends and family. I've got, I think, 2 people left using them. I got a couple heavy streamers off from the Rokus onto Android TV / Google TV, and I think everybody's better for it. So this did play a lot, didn't play everything, and some of what it played, it had to transcode the audio. All right, so we've got 4 different device tests today with all the same test media, and there should be enough in here for you to see a representation of your own 4K media. So thanks for watching and happy plexing.